Opposed? So carried. Okay, we'll move to item D, public comment. If there's anybody here for public comment? Nobody signed up? Okay. We'll move to item E, staff report. First we'll hear from executive office.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. This morning I am the executive office. I'm George Ferry. I'm director of the compliance division, and Mr. Francis and Mr. Kuntz are, we had a commission meeting called this morning, so they're attending that. Weren't able to send their apologies for not being able to be here with y'all. I do want to go through the items on the staff report for executive. First and foremost, I guess, to everybody is just an update on the regarding the transition of the program from DSHS to TDLR. So first item of note, I think, is October 3rd is our date when the transfer, the complete transfer will take place, when TDLR will take over the licensing functions and everything else. Up until that date, DSHS will still be handling the licensing applications and all those functions. Wanted to mention a couple other things too. In order to make sure that we don't forget anything and everything is being handled, we've established an internal consolidation team made up of folks from every division, and they're meeting once a week, talking about what needs to be done, what still needs to be done, looking at things like frequently asked questions, looking at forms, everything else to make sure that we've got everything ready for a smooth and seamless transition on October 3rd. So that team is meeting once a week right now, and we'll continue meeting after the October 3rd date for maybe a couple months, just to make sure that we've taken care of any loose ends and that y'all don't see y'all see an increase in service and get all the services you need too, including questions answered, that sort of thing. We're also talking to our customer service division in this team too, to make sure they know the answers to the questions that get asked or know where to find the answers. So. In the meantime, the process is ongoing. So we had a rule proposal posted recently, and this has to do with some requirements that were added to our Chapter 51, which is the law that talks about the whole, covers the whole agency, basically how we operate. These particular rules were based on a new section in our Chapter 51 that was added specifically for the health-related programs, Chapter 51.2031. It has to do with rules related to scope of practice and standards of care. This rule proposal has been posted on our website. It should be on all the pages. You can go and look at it. They're out there for public comment, and I believe, let's see, they were published last Friday, August 12th. So there's 30 days that are allowed for public comment, and when those come back, they'll be discussed, and they will be, in one form or another, will be adopted by our commission. You're welcome as members of the public to submit comments if you look at them and see something you want to comment on. And I don't think we probably won't bring these to the advisory board because they're not specific to just this advisory board, and we're mandated to do this by the statute, and something we want to do too. Obviously to allow the advisory boards to have real say-so on standards of practice and standards of care. So just be aware of that. Go on our website. You can look at those and see what the proposed rules are. And again, provide us with any comments you believe you think are important. Do want to talk to you all about a couple other things. Our strategic plan and our legislative appropriations request. So every state agency every 2 years is required to produce a strategic plan covering the next 5 years. We take that process pretty seriously, and some of y'all may have seen earlier in the spring, seen us going around the state asking for comments from folks, asking 4 basic questions. What do we do well? And we were kind of asking these questions at this point as the current services you're receiving. What do we do well? What could we do better? If you could be king or queen for a day, what one thing would you change in the law or rules? And what's coming down the pike basically in the next 5 years, not just in the world like technology, but what's happening in your profession that may change the way you do business or at least impact it significantly. We take those comments and we put them together and make it part of our strategic plan. We also will create initiatives out of the comments we get that we can go to the legislative session next time and say, here's something in the law that's really a problem or needs to be tightened up or whatever, and we'll see about getting changes made. The legislative appropriations request is basically our budget for the next biennium, which would be 2018, 2019. I've heard it referred to as our professional begging document. That goes to the Legislative Budget Board and will be discussed along with all the other budget requests from all the other agencies during the legislative session. But that is out there. I don't think we posted that on our website yet. The strategic plan is posted on our website. It's a good read. Please go and, it's not very long. The heart of it is about 10 or 11 pages. And you can take a look at it. It includes our mission, our vision, our agency philosophy, and our agency core values, which we want you all to know because these, as they say, are core to everything we do. So please take a look at that. Like I said, all these documents will eventually be on our website and available for your reading pleasure. One other thing that I think you're probably aware of, but I just want to mention it again. Our current executive director, Mr. William Kuntz, will be retiring at the end of this month. He's been here since 1999, I believe, when he started. He and Brian both started in 1999. And I can tell you this, I've been here since 1991 and went through a period where the agency was not, the legislature or some members of the legislature were not all that happy with us. There were bills introduced to abolish us. Now they keep on asking to send programs to us, as I'm sure you're well aware. And a lot of that, really all of it, is due to the leadership of Mr. Kuntz and Mr. Francis and how they inspire us, all the folks here at TDLR, to really provide the exceptional customer service to all our customers. So this is his legacy, and we're going to miss him. The commission also appointed Mr. Francis as our new executive director effective September 1. So you will be seeing Brian sitting in this spot going forward. Don't know beyond that what other changes will be made. It's a work in progress. We've got a lot of things going on all at once, and so executive office is busy juggling all these tasks. So I believe I did want to mention. No, I think that's it. So you'll have any questions on the executive staff report? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll hear from General Counsel Division.
Hi, I'm Wendy Pello, Assistant General Counsel. We just had a brief update. We wanted to update you on the status of the adopted rules. As you recall, last fall and early in the spring, we worked on the proposed rules for moving the program, the Hearing Instrument Fitters and Dispensers program, from DSHS to TDLR. At our last advisory board meeting, we had informed you that the commission had adopted those rules at their April commission meeting. And since your last advisory board meeting, we just wanted to give you an update that the adoption notices for those proposed, or the adopted rules, were published in the Texas Register on June 17th. And the adopted rules are also posted on our website. Again, they're not effective until October 1st, but hopefully this will give everyone an opportunity to review and become familiar with them before the transfer takes effect. They become effective October 1st, and the transfer of all regulatory functions will be effective October 3rd. We just want to provide you an update of where they were.
Thank you very much. And we'll now hear from Compliance Division.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to start the Compliance Division. It's George Ferry again. Start by introducing the person who will be giving the rest of the Compliance Division report. Stephen Mills, some of you may know Stephen from the Department of State Health Services. Stephen has been hired as the new manager of the new health professions section in the Compliance Division. He started June 15th, was it? I
Yes.
think, and has been busy trying to get the compliance operations for these programs up and running, and we've been busy interviewing to do some hiring too, because there are 5 more positions that will be hired in that section. So, with that being said, I'll turn it over to Mr. Mills.
Thank you, George.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Chair Norris and board members. It's Good to see y'all again. Many of you I've known for a long time. One new face. Let's see, our Compliance Division staff report, there was some public outreach in early June. You probably are aware, we had, looks like 4 staff members attending the THAA annual trade show, and we had a booth there, and I understand that was very successful. As George mentioned, he and I have been involved in interviewing applicants for the first 2 positions, the Program Specialist 6, our program leads. And I am pleased to announce that we have filled those positions, and one of the persons we selected is Katie Bryce from DSHS, who has served previously as the Executive Director of the State Committee of Examiners. And Katie is here today. So we congratulate her on her new position, and I look forward to working with her. The second person we selected is Yvonne Feinleib, who you may or may not know, but she's been at DSHS for a long time, involved with midwifery and orthotists and prosthetists. So she'll be coming on September 1st as well. As George also mentioned, we have been working hard on our health professions consolidation team. We are meeting weekly. We're discussing updates and plans and ideas with people from each of our functional areas, including licensing, customer service, IT, enforcement, education and examinations, compliance, of course, general counsel, our web and social media folks, financial services, and our strategic communications folks. That it's a lot of work. It's exciting work. We've got a lot going on right now. The goal of our group is to ensure that we're all on the same page across our organization, and to make sure that we're ready to go live on October 3rd. We have prioritized tasks. Obviously, we've got to make sure the licensing happens on October 3rd, customer service, verifications, online services. All those things are in the works and are well managed at this time. There are some other things that we're still in decision making on, and still looking at how we'll be handling those. We are looking forward to a smooth transition on October 3rd, though. Working hard.
Good, thank you, and welcome.
Any questions for me?
Is there anything that's keeping us from going live October 3rd?
Not that I know of.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
much. All right, we'll now move, here from Education and Examination Division.
Good morning, Chairman, Advisory Board members. My name is Rebecca Adamus. I'm with TDLR's Education and Examination Division. I just wanted to stop by and say hello.
Hello.
Good morning. I just wanted to give you an update on a few things that we've been doing in the Education Examination Division. We've been diligently working with our subject matter experts to get the practical examination ready for the crossover to TDLR on October 1. We have been working very hard. We're hoping to have a date for the industries. As soon as we have that set, we will be sure to let everyone know. We're going to have the candidate information bulletin available for the industry, so they'll be able to view all of the information needed for their testing. I also attended the THAA conference in Dallas along with George Ferry, and we manned the booth, and it was wonderful to have that interaction with your industry, and the reception that we got was very positive. I look forward to dealing with your industry because the pride that you take in your industry was very refreshing. We also wanted to give a little shout out to Mr. Hahn for getting the Dispenser of the Year award at the conference. That was very wonderful to witness. And we just want to let you know we also hired a couple of new inspectors to kind of give us a hand. We've got Fernando Gaitan and Roy Cantu. They bring along a wealth of knowledge and will be a wonderful asset to our team. The second page of our report is just kind of a snapshot of how the Education and Examination Division kind of lines up and who goes where. And that's about all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions? I'm sorry.
No, no,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now hear from Enforcement Division.
Good morning, Chairman and fellow advisory board members. My name is Sharisa Alexander, and I'm a prosecutor in the Enforcement Division. I don't have much for you today. We have provided you with an introduction to the Enforcement Division overview of what we do, and I believe we've gone over that with you in the past, which kind of give you an overview of our intake and investigation and prosecution procedures and how complaints come into our office and how we handle inspections. We also gave you, a little bit of overview about your criminal history and how we handle that with regards to our enforcement process. So if you have any questions regarding that document, and if you need me to explain anything, just let me know. The only other thing that I do have is information regarding the update on the adoption of the criminal conviction guidelines. They were actually posted to our website on July the 29th, 2016, and were approved by the commission on June 22nd. I'm available to answer any questions.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll now hear from the Licensing Division.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Dee Dee McEachern, Director of Licensing, and we have been busy working, especially on your guys' licenses. So we've been busy working all summer at the Department of State Health Services to learn how to process licenses, to help catch up backlog and stuff like that. So we're learning how to process the license, how to work the system, all those neat intricacies. We've also hired 4 or 5 different people from there. So we're bringing that knowledge with us, and we are ready, and we're ready. As far as we know, October 3rd is not going to be a problem. So, because we're already working in that system and know how to do it, and we stole people who know how to do it too, so that helps. We have extended the renewal dates for the folks who expire in August, September, and October. Those renewal dates were extended by 60 days, so that will help with the compression of when people renew during this transition time. So they can go ahead and renew online if they're within 60 days of their extended renewal time, and licenses will process like normal. And then once it gets to TDR, we'll start sending out renewal notices for those extensions. Those extended dates will go on that date forever. If it used to expire August 31st, it now expires October 31st, something like that, where the 60 days is from that. And so that expiration date will always be October 31st now.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So if the renewal date got extended, it's a permanent extension.
Okay. So if it
So-
renews in November,
Then it'll
only-
expire two years from that November.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Richard Davila, I wanted to ask, is the 60-day extension for all forms of licenses, full licensure, someone who's an apprentice, someone who might have their temporary trading permit expiring in this window, for all licenses?
It should be for all licenses, yes. Any questions?
Anybody else?
No.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, now we'll hear from Department of State Health Services.
Good morning, I'm Katie Price with Department of State Health Services. For a licensing update, we currently have 110 temporary training permit holders. We have 60 apprentice permit holders, and we have 631 full license holders. We will be administering the practical examination on August 24th and 25th. We currently have 32 candidates signed up to take the exam. As Dee Dee just mentioned, the licenses set to renew in August, September, and October have been extended 60 days. We're currently working on trying to get some language put up on the website because we've been getting a lot of questions about that, just people wanting to verify that it really is being extended. So hopefully that will be up soon. We have been cross-training with the TDLR staff, helping them learn the system and learn how to process applications. I also met on Monday with some TDLR staff members from continuing education, just trying to understand the current process of approving CE sponsors and course approval, just so they can see how it will work with their system and try to figure out any changes that need to be made. We will begin transition activities in the next couple of weeks to include transferring application and license files and complaint cases over to TDLR, which will be a lot of work. Any questions?
No.
Anybody?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item F, update from work groups and possible recommendations. First, we'll hear from enforcement. Anything?
Morning. My name is Chris Russi. I'm with the Enforcement Division, the Research and Analytics Specialist. As Sharisa had mentioned earlier, the Commission did adopt the criminal conviction guidelines, which were created by the Enforcement Work Group and approved by y'all, and they have been published on our website. Upcoming, we will be requesting a training from the Enforcement Work Group for enforcement staff. Now, in this training, this is more, we want to learn about your daily business, the types of services you provide to patients, types of patients you serve, the setting in which you serve the patients, the tools or techniques you may employ, and the records that are created during the service. Beyond that, we will, after that training, we're going to set up another meeting for creation of the penalty matrix. This penalty matrix, like you may have used before, setting out violations, the class of violations, and what the penalty may be for them and/or sanction. If you have any other questions on work group, I can address those.
Will you be creating a work group, sorry, Jesse Rangel, will you be creating a work group to try to get some of these things in line? Or is this something you're just coming up with?
I'm sorry, I don't know, which things?
Well, you mentioned enforcement and penalties and things like that. Is this something that your group is creating, or
Yes.
is there going to be an advisory?
Yes, so far we have a prosecutor assigned to each one of the DSHS programs that are coming. Sharisa is the one assigned to your programs. So far she has gone through the rules and statute, and she has addressed actual violations that are held within there. And then we're going to take that draft, and after the training meeting, we're going to bring that to the enforcement work group and present that to y'all and get y'all's opinion on that. What kind of violations you feel are more important to your industry, that kind of thing.
This has been Norris, and I think to answer your question, the work groups that we set a couple of meetings ago, that's the work group the enforcement work group that you'll be working with.
Yes, sir.
I don't have that list with me to tell you who's on.
I don't have those exact names either, but
But that's what the work group is talking about.
yes, sir. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll hear from licensing.
Haven't met.
Haven't met, okay, there you go. How about education, examinations?
Good morning, Ray Pizarro, Director for the Education Examination Division. In 46 days, 20 hours, and 36 minutes, not that we're counting, we're going to be, that's when the transition happens. With our work group, one of the big things that's on the radar right now is to make the subtle changes from language from DSHS to TDLR on the JP exams. We need to start looking at that. We're going to visit with all of the work groups from all of the programs that require the JP exam to make those changes. With regards to making any substantive change on those JP, that's not going to happen at this moment. We're just going to make those initial changes because everything's going to move and start up on October the 3rd as is. We're going to continue to implement everything and run it the way it's being run right now. So, but we will be meeting with the work groups. That's the biggest change, and some of you already know we're working on the examinations. Okay?
Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, work group, standard of care group.
Mr. Chairman, I can, compliance will be leading that work group. Who are the members? Tamla, do we have the members of that group?
Yes, sir.
And someone asked about the licensing work group, or was it the enforcement work group?
Enforcement.
Okay.
That's Richard Davila, Jack Cooper, and Jesus Frankel.
I thought that group was already over. I didn't know we were gonna be meeting again. I hadn't heard anything else other than what we did at the time, so that's what made me question that.
These groups are more or less standing groups that are available when items,
Okay.
issues come up for us to talk about. Subject to change. You're not appointed for life necessarily, in case you have something else to do, but,
6 years.
yeah. But we can, there'll be other items to be discussed, including the penalty matrix. So anyway, so the standard of care work group has not met yet, no. But we will start, probably next meeting, talking about that anyway.
Thank you.
Mary Winston, TDLR. Standard of care, we held off on, if we recall, because we want the transition to happen before we start that. So it's not a lifetime commitment, of course, 6 years, but the work groups will start after that time. And penalty matrix, I believe Chris identified at least 2 meetings that have to occur with work groups to internally, and then get with the work groups, and it has to come before the advisory board. It's all a process coming, and not a lifetime commitment, so there's plenty more opportunities to jump on in there.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item G, recommendations for agenda items for the next board meeting.
So, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'll start the ball rolling. So obviously, we're gonna have work group reports on the next agenda and staff reports. We'll also probably have, hopefully we'll have some work group meetings before that on standards of care and the enforcement issues. If so, then we'll be making reports. But those items, again, will be on the work group items, will be on the agenda for the next time. And any other items that the board is interested in discussing?
Anything to discuss? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item H, discussions of date, time, location of the next board meeting. Have we already got the date for the next one?
Well, our initial suggestion is January. That would give some time for the work groups to meet and have discussions. And get to the holidays. Some of you may have some, obligations maybe. I don't know. So let's see what Tamla's got for us here.
Okay, so January, we have a pretty open calendar, allowing us to get through the holiday time, focusing on the week of the 16th being a Monday. That entire week is open, so if you guys want to check your calendars and let me know what day works best for you.
10 o'clock on Wednesday. You don't like that date, time?
Yes.
So that would be
That's
the
right.
18th of January.
How's that look for everybody?
Yeah.
Good for me. That'll be good.
Okay. And we'll tentatively set that for 10 o'clock on Wednesday, January 18th then.
All right, we have any other questions or anything? All right, yeah, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Man, I'll tell you what, yeah.